news for
On Martha, looking for that unforgettable kid's costume this Halloween?
You've come to the right place.
We've got your inspiration in these classic French designs. Then,
Please welcome Sir Richard Branson.
the founder and chairman of the Virgin Group is in Martha's kitchen, making 3 healthy sides that could change the way you eat. Plus,
Collector extraordinaire Peter Arnell is back.
with a rare look at 350 years of the fire extinguisher.
What a cool collection.
Next on Martha. Coming up, learn some important fire safety tips with Honorary Fire Commissioner Peter Arnell.
My good friend Peter Arnell. He is a neighbor of mine, and every time I visit with him, I just find out how much more knowledgeable he is about so many things, and his passion is nothing short of contagious. He's a collector, he's a designer, he's an inventor, he's a businessman, and he is even an honorary fire commissioner here in New York, which brings him here today for Fire Prevention Week. Please welcome back Peter Arnell. I did not know you were coming out in costume. All men love to get dressed up in these serious uniforms
of
our serious protectors. They like to get dressed up as policemen. They like to get dressed up, I think, mostly as real firefighters. Yeah. And the equipment that you have to wear is very heavy.
It's very heavy because, of course, it has to protect you under very hazardous conditions.
Right. So what attracted you to the fire department for?
Well, there was you know, incredible interest I had in helping from the work that we do in trying to coordinate education programs, do campaigns for fire safety in the school system, and also develop curriculums for fire safety education for the city.
And as honorary fire commissioner, what do you do?
Well, we have a lot of different roles. Myself, I tend to get very, very involved in overseeing a lot of the curriculums for fire safety in the school systems, and specifically a lot of the recruitment campaigns.
Well, more people die from fires in their homes than from any other kind of accident, I understand.
Yeah, it's the #1 hazard and killer of people in the country.
Isn't that amazing?
Terrible,
yeah, it's hard to believe that, and it's so easy to prevent most of the accidents that happen. What's the most common accident?
Well, in the kitchen. In the kitchen, we found out that there's a lot of grease fires, and I think 85% of the fires happen in the kitchen, and they, unfortunately, the people don't have the right either plan or protective equipment.
I once flambéed some pheasants in my kitchen with cognac, and of course the flames went right up, and guess what was right there? The fire alarm. Okay. And the whole fire department came, and they all ate the pheasants. They were they were pretty pissed that Martha would make such a stupid mistake. But it really is very interesting to see how far we've come in terms of fighting fires. And Peter has brought a line, an assortment of amazing fire extinguishers, from the earliest plain old bucket.
Yeah, well, this bucket here actually is the original bucket. People used to have them monogrammed, so everyone knew which bucket was.
So this is the Franklin Fire Society. Wow, in 1830.
Yeah, and this goes back as far as the 1600s. The Dutch invent. It's leather. It's leather. It's Dutch.
It's Dutch.
And basically, this worked together with this one here. So you kind of had to have this guy and this guy together. This was called a rattler, and basically, the moment you heard that noise, right, the old alarm, everyone grabbed their buckets and went to get water, and then everyone came out of their home in unison, so a town would be able to work together.
Pretty hard to put out a major fire with just buckets of water.
Pretty hard. In fact, really, as you know, most of those towns did burn down in the early days, especially the settlers here and so forth. This one here is amazing.
You know, I have one of these in my house in Maine.
Is that right?
Is that powder inside, sort of a powdery substance?
No, 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 no. This is a syringe. This is a syringe.
I've never used it. It's still on the wall in my house.
As early as 1680.
Wow.
And basically, you hold that on that side, and
heavy.
basically,
oh my
very, very heavy. You put the water in, you pull it back, and You'd spray
Shoot it out.
25 feet, you know, up to the
Wow.
second floor. So
Much harder than a hose, right?
much harder than a hose, and there was dozens of these, and people would just keep on passing them back and forth, and it was incredible. But that's how they used to put out fires. And then they jumped very quickly into this, which was amazing, and these were basically like baseballs, bulbs.
Boy.
And there was thousands of these, right, turn of the
Lined
century, lined up, and they would throw them. And there was a saline, you know, to deal with the
Well,
combustion.
didn't they fill these then with something else that was sort of bad to inhale?
It wasn't
Like a
necessarily the
bromide or
healthy. Yeah, it
something?
wasn't necessarily the healthiest
Yeah.
thing.
Those two I have in one of my houses.
Oh, one of these. Yeah, this is very,
in
very
attics,
rare.
and they would put
yeah,
them
yeah,
in attics,
exactly.
and you would use that in case there was an instant fire
Yeah,
somewhere.
and what's amazing about this, they came in all different sizes, some as big as a basketball, and this is very rare unit that the former
Boy.
deputy commissioner of the fire department gave me as a Christmas gift one
Wow,
year.
don't drop those. And then you have to step on the glass. Can you imagine? Oh, very difficult. And then this is from what year?
Yeah, this actually, you know, goes from the 40s and 50s, and this is, you've seen this one everywhere, and this is basically the standard operating one. If you pull this up real quickly, it's pretty heavy, and you turn it upside down, you know, and you open up that thing, and you spray it, and there's no pressure in these units, so you just have to let the water go down, and you spray it. This is courtesy of the New York City Fire Museum here in the city of New York.
Where is that museum?
Down on Prince Street.
Oh,
and,
interesting.
and they've lent us some of these incredibly very rare items today to show how the history of firefighting
This
works.
is one that's more common that you probably have in your homes. Everyone should have a fire extinguisher someplace.
Everyone should have one, and everyone should have one readily available.
Make sure if you have this type that it is always on the charged area. Check yours because so many people go to reach for it and it has expired.
It's expired and there's no pressure and it's dried out and
very bad.
And they should be changed like batteries, et cetera, et cetera. Right. The interesting thing about that one, of course, the one that Martha just showed, is that people generally have a problem in knowing, of course, if the unit is charged or not and so forth, because they tend to put them away. They store them in areas that aren't right, closets and under sinks and because they're kind of ugly in a funny way. They're not necessarily friendly.
But you should have a fire extinguisher near any source of fire, like fireplaces. Should be out, easily accessible. I have never had a fire, thank heavens, and I have fire extinguishers in every location.
Yeah, they should be in every room.
Furnaces?
Yeah. And you should have a plan, and you should practice it with your family, and you should sit down. Should be a escape plan.
You should see Peter at his house. They all get dressed up in these outfits with their hats.
They do. I actually have a little fire truck. Yeah, we do strange things at the house, yeah.
Well, Peter has just designed and created a more updated version of the fire extinguisher, which actually revolutionizes the way that you fight fires in your homes, and you're going to love it and want to run out and get it. Well, we'll reveal it when we come back. Stay with us. This is so fascinating.
Later, distinguished humanitarian Sir Richard Branson stops by to make some healthy side dishes and discuss his latest projects.
Do you know that only about 2/3 of the nation's homes are equipped with fire extinguishers, when it really should be 100%? Peter Arnell is designing and creating products for Home Depot that include updated and innovative and stunning fire extinguishers, including this is it, final product.
Right here. This is
Peter's
it right
been
here.
talking about this to me for how long now?
It's been in the making almost 4 years.
Yeah. And so it takes a while to design and develop something as complex as a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, and also it's regulated. It's, you know, you have to work with UL, Underwriters Laboratory, to make sure that it will always work and it's correctly
This is the
made
one
and so
that
forth.
I have in near all my open fires.
Yeah.
Now,
Here-
what's wrong with this one?
Well,
now I'm getting upset.
A lot of things.
I'm getting
right?
upset,
Yeah,
Peter.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. There's not that there's anything wrong. These are very good
It's
units.
better to have that than
It's
nothing.
better to have
Oh,
this
yes.
than nothing. The problem is that the world changed in the last 100 years, right? And we don't necessarily want to put commercial, professional equipment that was made for, you know, large-scale industry in our kitchen on the, you know, on the countertop. It just doesn't look, feel, and smell right? So I had the simple idea, about 4 years ago, I was thinking that maybe what we can do is we can update the unit and make it much more friendly and make it look more like an appliance. Just like in the 60s, the percolator looked kind of messy, and then Braun came along and did this fabulous design. We did the same thing here. Along with that thinking, we changed a lot of the
This looks like an immersion blender.
It looks like an immersion blender.
It does.
Well,
just don't try to puree your soup with this.
Yeah, don't puree your soup with that at all, and yeah, that would not be good. That would not be good.
But it looks great. I want these in my kitchen. I want these everywhere.
Well, a couple things really important. The instructions, right? You see, you hold this like this, right? But like the instructions are over here, right? So if you hold it this way, it doesn't fight the fire, right?
So here
we put the instructions on the back, like dumb stuff like that really helps a lot.
So
when you're squirting it and you're picking it up, it's got the instructions really clear.
So
we changed the graphics also.
Pull pin, hold unit upright. So you pull this out, that's the pin.
Pull, aim, squeeze.
And
that's
squeeze.
the deal. Yeah, pull, aim, squeeze.
Oh,
it's really saying. Also, one-hand operation, right? Big difference. Here you got to pull this out, pull the pin, and you got to go like that, right? Two-hand operation. In an emergency,
this you could use two.
In emergency, you want to have the other available, right? Telephone 911, maybe help you navigate a fire, et cetera, or yourself, or pull something out of the way. So we've centered the unit, and we've got a one-hand operation, a quick pull here.
How much stuff is in here when you actually
it's about 12 seconds. You should release the whole thing, and it will immerse it. And it's eco-friendly, right? Very important.
So you spray this on your stove.
You
spray it. It's okay. You can clean it up.
You clean it up after, and it's gonna revolutionize the category, because I think when you stylize and modernize this way, and you take the form factors and you center the unit, and you know simple one squeeze button, and you balance and everything, I think people will then put it on the counter, and then you'll know it's there, and hopefully it will do what it's supposed to do.
So does this size have as much stuff in it as that one?
Yeah. It's the same stuff. It's just been completely rethought, and the usage, the display, the design, and the landscape of your kitchen has been taken into consideration.
Peter really is a phenomenal designer, but he also has some tips, top tips for preventing fires in the home. So give us three.
Okay. So first of all, have a plan. I think that's really important. Sit down with your family and go through it like you were really going to have a fire. Where you're going to run out, how you're going to get out of the house, where the windows are, where the doors, et cetera, et cetera.
Don't forget the dogs and cats.
Don't forget the dogs and cats.
But don't stay in.
Don't forget the dogs and cats, especially my dogs, right? and the second one, which is very important, is, of course, people tend to leave a lot of junk and wires and all that stuff around and so forth. So when there's things piling up, whether it be paper or electrical plugs or everything, the idea is always after a couple of months, you should always check the house and kind of clean it up.
Eliminate the hazards.
Eliminate the hazards, right? And then respond quickly. Don't think at all other than attacking the fire very, very early on. It spreads every minute twice as big as it was the minute before. So it can get out of hand. Also, I don't recommend for you guys to fight fires. That's for the fire department. So
get them over.
You got to dial 911, and that's their job. And I would not recommend trying to put out a fire. These are for early fire prevention. So when it gets a bit out of control, which it does, unfortunately, at times, my recommendation is to dial 911 immediately.
And also have your address, your street number on your mailbox, or very clear. So many people forget to do that, and they can't find your house. That happened to me. Thanks, Peter. And everybody in the audience is getting a gift card from Home Depot for this fantastic fire extinguisher. So you can all try it. We'll be right back. Thanks so much. Well, I want to thank Sir Richard Branson for being here and telling us about all the phenomenal initiatives. And don't forget to watch tomorrow when humanitarian Petra Nemkova, who's also a famous model, is going to be here. See you then.